So, one option with equivalent expression problems is always to just solve everything. But that's not like, it's not always the option that we need to take, and that never is really the easiest option, but sometimes it's the best. So they give us negative 45 plus 12, which if I want to figure out what it is, so I moved this when Dr. Chellis came in. Negative 45 plus a positive 12. I'm going to put negative 45 in parentheses, plus 12. So if you're behind on Khan Academy, you should be working on your behind work. If you are up to date, you should be working on this week's work. If you are all caught up, quote unquote, you should be working on the unit test, unless you're somebody who wants to see this solution, and then you should be paying attention to me. So if I think about this, I can really think good guys, bad guys, right? Bad guys are stronger than the good guys. So the bad guys are going to win by a difference of 33, I think. So what we need to think about is which one of these would give us either a final answer of negative 33 or the two numbers of negative 45 and positive 12. So if we look at option A says 3 parentheses or times the quantity of 15 plus 4. Anyone remember what property it is that tells us to draw these arrows and multiply, split up? Starts with a D. You had to shout it out. Yeah, distributive, which says do the multiplication, split up. So 3 times negative 15. And, because the addition comes down, 3 times a positive 4 is the math that we need to do there. Sorry, I need to bring some super glue. Gets me negative 45 plus 12, which is what we had started with. So A is a matching option, because after we distribute, we get negative 45 plus 12. We don't need to solve it, because we already know we got the same answers. B says 5 times here's the trap door they wanted you to fall in. They wanted you to look at this and ignore the parentheses and say 5 minus 50 is negative 45, and then we have a plus 12. But guys, that's wrong, right? Order of operations would tell us we need to do what's in the parentheses first, which if we come back up here and follow the order of operations, because we could do what's in the parentheses, negative 15 plus 4 is negative 11. That times the 3 is negative 33. Gets the same answer that we just had up here. So if we follow the order of operations, this should actually be 5 times whatever negative 50 plus 12 is. Bad guys win by 38. And there's no chance that this is going to equal negative 33. Right? There's no chance. So they wanted you to fall in the trap door of doing the subtraction. That does not work. B does not work. We just know that it won't work. A would be our right answer there. This one messes with us because how the order of operations tells us what to do. So the order of operations says to divide before we would add. Is that a negative 7 or a positive 7? Positive, sweet. Yeah, my TV that I have over here cut some of it off. Negative 80 divided by 7 plus 9. Now, there is a technique where we can break up division, but not in a situation like this. So we're not trying to divide by the 7 and divide by the 9. The order of operations, as we talked about yesterday, which for you guys is like 2 days ago, right, says PEMDAS, but if we can simplify the numerator or simplify the denominator before we start, so remember, numerator's on top, denominator's on bottom, we have to do that. So it's kind of like a fraction or a division has parentheses on top and bottom. So on top, there's nothing to do with the negative 80. But 7 plus 9, we can add those up. And we get 16. Now when I think about negative 80 over 16, that can reduce, right? I see an 8 here, and 16 I recognize is divisible by 8. So if we reduce by dividing by 8 and dividing by 8, then we're going to get negative 10 over 2. Ah, that's convenient. They're both still even. So since they're both still even, negative 5 over 1, because we would divide by 2 and divide by 2. Any questions on that one? We need to simplify in the numerator or denominator before we can actually try to do the division. And actually, if you had a calculator, or if you're smarter than I am, you might be able to figure out that negative 80 over 16, that division just comes out to be negative 5. So our answer, really, if we just straight up did the division, is negative 5. By reducing the fractions, I got to negative 5 over 1, which is also just negative 5.